Maybe you'll think of me when you are all alone. Maybe the one who is waiting for you will prove untrue. Then what will you do? Maybe you'll sit and sigh, wishing that I were near. Then maybe, 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 maybe.
War. War never changes. The Romans waged war to gather slaves and wealth. Spain built an empire from its lust for gold and territory. Hitler shaped a battered Germany into an economic superpower. But war never changes. In the 21st century, war was still waged over the resources that could be acquired. Only this time, the spoils of war were also its weapons: petroleum and uranium. For these resources, China would invade Alaska, the US would annex Canada, and the European Commonwealth would dissolve into quarreling, bickering nation-states bent on controlling the last remaining resources on Earth. In 2077, the storm of World War had come again. In 2 brief hours, most of the planet was reduced to cinders. And from the ashes of nuclear devastation, a new civilization would struggle to arise. A few were able to reach the relative safety of the large underground vaults. Your family was part of that group that entered Vault 13. Imprisoned safely behind the large vault door, under a mountain of stone, a generation has lived without knowledge of the outside world. Life in the vault is about to change.
Ah, you're here. Good. We've got a problem. A big one. The controller chip for our water purification system has given up the ghost. Can't make another one, and the process is too complicated for a workaround system. Simply put, we're running out of drinking water. No water, no vault. This is crucial to our survival. And frankly, I think you're the only hope we have. You need to go find us another controller chip. We estimate we have 4 to 5 months before the vault runs out of water. We need that chip. We marked your map with the location of another vault. Not a bad place to start, I think. Look, just be safe, okay?
You managed to destroy the vats. Then you killed the Master before he could realize his twisted plans. With the Master gone, his armies flee to the east in fear of retribution from the remaining normals. The mutant attack on Necropolis spares none of its ghoulish inhabitants. After the mutant armies advance, they leave a truly dead city behind them. The mutant armies, led into battle by the fierce super-mutants, destroy the followers of the apocalypse. Barely human carrion feeders pick over the followers' remains. In Shady Sands, Tandy helps her father Aradesh bring a new community and new life out of the broken remains of the world. They are responsible for the new California Republic, whose ideals spread across the land. Killian Darkwater takes firm control of Junktown, drives out the last of Gizmo's kind, and then enforces his own brand of frontier justice. Life is fair and safe under his law. The Brotherhood of Steel helps the other human outposts drive the mutant armies away with minimal loss of life on both sides of the conflict. The advanced technology of the Brotherhood is slowly reintroduced into New California with little disruption or chaos. The Brotherhood wisely remains out of the power structure and becomes a major research and development house. The hub disperses before the might of the mutant army and will never recover. Thanks to your persistence, the Raiders are destroyed as an effective fighting force and disband. None of the Raider survivors are ever heard from again. Your involvement with the various places and people of the wasteland is well documented by future historians. Only a single question remained unanswered. What happened to you?
Maybe you'll think of me when you are all alone. Maybe the one who is waiting for you. Maybe you'll think of me when you are all alone. Maybe the one who is waiting for you.
Your bones are scraped clean by the desolate wind. Your vault will now surely die, as you have.
Give me a kiss to build a dream on, and my imagination will thrive upon that kiss. Sweetheart, I ask no more than this, a kiss to build a dream on. Give me a kiss before you leave me, and my imagination will feed my hungry heart. Leave me one thing before we part, a kiss to build a dream on. When I'm alone with my fancies, I'll be with you, weaving romances, making believe they're true. Oh, give me your lips for just a moment, and my imagination will make that moment live. Give me what you alone can give, a kiss to build a dream on.
Come in, chosen one. There are things you must know. The village is dying. The signs are everywhere. Withering crops. Dying Brahmin. Sick children. There is hope, however. A slim hope that few know of. The old discs speak of an item called the Garden of Eden Creation Kit. It is said it can bring life to the wasteland. This will be your quest, if you prove yourself worthy. For that proof, you must first journey to the Temple of Trials. If you survive, come back to me. We will talk more. Our life is in your hands, Chosen One. Prove yourself. Find the Gek. Be our salvation.
Chosen, the village dies. All of our futures die too.
Chosen, the spirits of our ancestors guide me to a world of dreams that I may touch thoughts. Our village suffers without the Holy Gek. Your hands hold our lives as a father holds his children. Once again my spirit touches you from the void. Chosen, our crops fail, our reserves are meager. Return to us with the Gek. Your failure is our last light. Chosen, the village weakens. It is harder to touch your dreams. You must hurry, or we will all... Chosen, do you hear me? The village dies. All of our futures die too. We have little left in both time and essence. Hurry.
After the Enclave's destruction, the refugees of Arroyo and Vault 13 resettled, building a new community with the aid of the Garden of Eden creation kit. Finding themselves hundreds of miles from their vault, the members of Vault 13 chose to join the villagers in establishing a new community, and their technical expertise, combined with the villagers' survival skills, allowed the new settlement to grow and prosper. 2 generations of the same bloodline were reunited, and their savior, the Chosen One, became elder, presiding over the village in the years to come. Relations between the Slags and the residents of Modoc flourished. Between the two peoples, Modoc prospered and became a major farming community, supplying all the outlying regions with food. With Metzger gone, slavery disappeared from the area. Becky's casino bar grew quickly, and Rebecca Dyer's reputation as an honest casino and bar owner brought her the business needed to buy out her competition and expand. The den flourished, and it soon gained a reputation for being a tough but honest community. In the years following the destruction of the Enclave, Vault City continued to stagnate, choking on its own isolationism. Its Vault 8 generator, which was never intended to support such a large population, prevented Vault City's necessary expansion. Eventually, the city was absorbed by NCR, which had spread steadily northward since its founding. Not long after the destruction of the Enclave, the Bishop family of New Reno was blessed with a child. This child seemed to have little in common with the bishops, preferring instead to spend his days exploring the wastes. When he turned 13, he seized control of the Bishop family and led them to victory over the remaining New Reno families. He died quietly in his sleep at the age of 73, never having known his real father. Though the Wright family never completely recovered from Richard's death, the knowledge that their killer had been brought to justice eased their troubled sleep. Myron died less than a year after the defeat of the Enclave, stabbed by a Jet addict while drinking in the den. His discovery of Jet was quickly forgotten, and now there is no one who remembers his name. Optimizing Gecko's reactor created a power surplus in Gecko. The Vault City Council, unable to expand because of their limited power supply, yielded to internal pressure and was forced to take over Gecko to control the reactor. The peaceful ghouls of Gecko became slaves and spent the rest of their lives serving Vault City. Several years after buying the excavator chip from the Chosen One, Marge LaBarge was able to purchase and control both the Morning Star and the newly opened Cocoa Leaf mines. Marge was an easy choice for mayor, and using her new political power, she made Redding join the growing New California Republic in return for a seat in the NCR's Hall of Congress. With the destruction of the conspiracy to destroy the mutants, Broken Hills began to thrive. Then the uranium ran out. The city, having lost its sole reason for existing, slowly dispersed. The residents carried their riches with them, leaving the place a windswept, desolate ghost town. A few holdouts remained, attempting to eke out a pathetic existence, but eventually, they too disappeared. The failure of diplomacy at Vault 15 slowed the New California Republic's growth into the north. Embarrassed by the failure, President Tandy was replaced by Roger Weston. When the new government finally returned to Vault 15, they found nothing but a ghost town. The squatters of Vault 15 continued their meaningless, non-productive lives. No one noticed when the desert wastes finally claimed the squat. By eliminating the death clause of Vault 13, you banished yet another species of the realms of extinction, proving once again that genocide is a viable solution to any problem. The Shi flourished, creating a botanical scourge on the radiation surrounding their beloved town. Though this vine could not grow in other soils, the Shi took care to nourish it in their lands. They continued to grow in strength and prominence, forming the basis of a new empire. As for the tanker vagrants, well, As vagrants do, they drifted on.
Is there anything of yours that we could keep as a memento of this visit?
Take California.
Fallout, an increasingly important word in the atomic and hydrogen age. The facts from federal civil defense tell us that fallout could hurt you, might even kill you.
Well, what about it, mister? What is this fallout stuff?
Fallout is nothing more than particles of matter in the air made radioactive by nuclear explosions. Sooner or later, however, they settle to Earth. This is fallout, and it can be very dangerous if you don't know what to do about it. Well, do you know what to do about it, Grandpa?
Not yet, young man, but I will.
There are 4 major characteristics of an A-bomb or H-bomb explosion. They are blast, heat, initial radiation, and residual radiation. All this clear so far, sister?
Sure, but you've talked about fallout from enemy bombing.
Our government very carefully tests only small nuclear devices in the United States. So these are the facts that should reassure and encourage you. Be ready to assist in defense preparations in your community if your help is needed. For fallout is only one problem.
You have perished.
An American army is fighting for
1941, a date which will live. Note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima.
These forces met their mark.
We have declared the war in Vietnam.
But we don't plan to surrender either.
We are going to win.
Proportions and would lead to World War III.
Allied air forces began an attack on military
decide that in the 21st century that America...
March 5th, 2052, the United States has officially closed.
The United States will go ahead with a national quarantine. The new plague virus.
Disaster sweeping
Right here, pull over. All right, ain't nothing in there.
Hut. All right, you mutated redneck green-skinned sacks of irradiated flesh, listen up. I am Paladin Rychek. I am in charge of training you backward maggots in the art of war and survival. In my time in the Brotherhood, I have personally trained more than 50 initiates, and I am proud to say almost 14 of them are still alive and kicking. The elders have ordered me to mold you flabby, hip-slapping, berry-picking, rat-rubbing Brahmin kissers into capable warriors. And I am going to do it, even if it kills you. I will teach you how to eat, sleep, walk, talk, shoot, spit like a Brotherhood soldier. First level of training will be recruitment detail. You'll go to the surrounding villages and see what able-bodied primates are ready for an honest life's work. It is your duty to remind the village elders that if they want continued protection from the scum of this world, they will uphold their end of the bargain by providing resources and their best and brightest for Brotherhood training. Now get your weak-kneed, superstitious, soft-skinned, uneducated butts to the armory. You will be issued basic weapons and armor. There are 3 simple rules to follow with Brotherhood equipment. If you damage your weapon, you will spend a week in the box. If you damage your armor, you will spend a week in the box. If you lose either, I'll kill you myself. And one final thing, ladies. Welcome to the Brotherhood of Steel.
War never changes. It was the inevitable result of the path humanity had chosen. Everyone who entered into the conflict expected victory. Everyone was optimistic. But as the hostilities escalated, optimism faded, and society began to collapse. The great vaults were built to house the wealthy, the powerful, the influential, and those deemed necessary to their survival. Inside, resources and technology were stockpiled, a final defense against the coming Holocaust. With the past behind them and the present destroyed, they looked to the future. The sturdy Vault Zero was to be the nucleus of the Vault network, housing the greatest leaders, artists, and scientists. The inhabitants of Vault Zero were to reunite the vaults and lead the people to a new life, a new world. But after the bombs, the world would be a harsh one. To ensure the creation of a post-nuclear utopia, the Vault dwellers would need help. Machinery was constructed to tame a land hardened by the ravages of war, then tempered by nuclear winter. But plans were barely in place when the first missiles left the silos. During the destruction, communication between the vaults ceased. Entire vaults were lost. Those that survived were on their own. Not all vaults succumbed to the machinations of war. On North America's west coast, one group of military vault dwellers emerged almost unscathed. They surveyed the wasteland and squared their shoulders for the task ahead. These dedicated survivors salvaged the technology from the vaults, technology that was studied, replicated, and fiercely guarded. For they knew that while their power came from numbers, their future lay in scientific knowledge. In time, they formed the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood used their knowledge to drive back the atrocities of the wasteland, proclaiming themselves the technological saviors of mankind. They scoured the land in search of more technology, raiding mutant camps, bandit towns, and the broken remains of other vaults. But even they could not keep pace with the high tolls demanded by life in the wasteland. The Brotherhood found themselves at odds with their need for new blood versus their code of technological secrecy. The debate was lengthy. Finally, the elders ruled against sharing the technology with outsiders, convinced that they would endure as they had before. Further discussion was discouraged, and the elders ordered the minority on a mission across the wastes. Super mutants, the foot soldiers of a conquered army, had been forced into a retreat across the mountainous barrier to the east. The Brotherhood constructed airships and dispatched the minority to track down and assess the extent of the remaining super mutant threat. But disaster struck while crossing the Great Mountains. A great storm gripped the main airship and flung it far from its course. The mighty ship was badly damaged. The smaller sections were torn from the main craft, never to be seen again. Many of the expedition's leaders were lost to the winds. The fraction of the crew that still survived struggled to keep their ship aloft before finally crashing on the outskirts of a once thriving metropolis, a city once called Chicago. Broken, scattered, and scarred, they took stock of the situation and once again squared their shoulders to the task ahead. The Brotherhood had much to offer the surrounding villages. They traded advanced medicines in exchange for food and labor. They traded protection from bandits in exchange for new recruits. In time, their ranks began to swell. Separated by distance and ideology from the main Brotherhood forces, the minority was free to forge a new Brotherhood of Steel, one that reflected the ideals they had strived for all along. However, one's future in the wasteland is never certain, for an old power has awakened, also bent on making this land its own. Life in the Brotherhood is about to change. With your initiation now over, the Brotherhood reveals to you their highest objective. Fragments of data left over from before the Great War showed that the ancients spent many years constructing vaults to house the survivors. Recently acquired data, however, points to the creation of an enormous super vault. This nucleus of the vault network was built to protect the greatest minds of the time and would be the spearhead of post-war civilization. If the Brotherhood could find this vault and activate its systems, they would have access to technology resources previously undreamed of, as well as access to the ancients themselves. But the journey to the calculated location of Vault Zero would be perilous. A large army and a vast area of operations would be required for a mission of this magnitude. They planned to follow the roaring river to the south, forging alliances, gaining fresh recruits, and, if necessary, eliminating aggressors. Bunkers will be established in each new region to firmly establish a secure area of operations. When the Brotherhood's rule in the region is undisputed and their ranks are brimming with new recruits, the real campaign will begin, heading back towards the mountains. The Brotherhood's ranks have grown, and with their swollen numbers, they find themselves coming closer to the ultimate goal. The time to expand is now. Leaving an outpost behind, the warriors begin moving westward into a region known as the Belt. It is a scarred and desolate land, filled with death and the relics of a time before. Those who dwell here have scraped together a bleak existence, built on blood and grim determination. These isolated people are as hard as any in the wasteland. Pressuring these people to join the ranks of the Brotherhood will not be easy. Many will not understand the Brotherhood's glorious vision to reunite the people. Some resistance is expected. While the inhabitants are dangerous, the land itself has the power to stir up fearful memories in some of the generals and elders. They tell of the ill-fated flight across the mountains and how their mighty airships were torn apart. Old lore and surviving data suggests that at least one of the great Brotherhood Zeppelins was lost in this very region. If it were located, there is a chance the equipment and supplies it contained could be salvaged and returned to the noble purpose for which they were intended. There may even be survivors, but few hold any real hope of this. Only time will tell. The super mutants were a powerful adversary with great strength and courage. Without the leadership of Gamoran, though, they will never pose the same threat to the Brotherhood. It was the corruption of Gamoran that provided the most sobering lesson. Even the purest of hearts can falter. The elders and generals must push their sorrow aside, however, for they have more pressing matters to attend to. The data recovered from Gamoran's base indicates that the mutant force's root intersected with the calculated location of Vault Zero. It is possible that the mutant horde discovered the location of Vault Zero during their exodus from the West. Is there a connection between the mutants discovering Vault Zero and the emergence of the mechanical menace? Only time will tell. The future holds one thing for certain. More encounters with the robots are inevitable, and the Brotherhood has a new and deadly enemy. The Brotherhood's fears are confirmed. The robots now have multiple production factories around the wasteland. They are concentrated heavily around the Great Mountains, in a region known as Colorado Springs. This is the fabled location of Vault Zero, which houses the mastermind behind the robot menace, the Calculator. Data from the Brotherhood Research Center dates the origin of the robots before the war that decimated the land. Their purpose: to help humanity crawl back from the brink of self-destruction. But the robots now seek to destroy the very humans they were created to save. They boast great strength and power, and one factor seems certain: all life forms have become their prey. The Brotherhood has adapted to new enemies before, however, and with the development of new weapons, they will adapt again. Brotherhood tacticians and generals will not be idle, for new enemies require new tactics. Assault squads must be directed at the robot production and command centers that supply the Calculator's metallic ranks. The Brotherhood's predicted losses are staggering, but what is life as a warrior without peril? In the paranoid times leading up to the war, new vaults were being constructed every day. The ancient temples of war known as NORAD became the home for Vault Zero, a storage place for the cryogenically frozen geniuses of the time. The Calculator was built to be a mixture of machine and man, a gestalt of mechanical switches and human brains linked through a cybernetic interface. Supposedly, representing the ideal society, these brains were to govern the higher functions of the Calculator, powering its neural network. The Calculator was designed to oversee the repopulation of the continent in the event of a war, and educate the new humanity in the ways of the old world. But first, it was to sterilize the land, making a fresh start for the soon-to-be emerging citizens of Neo-America. For this task, the Calculator had at its disposal an army of emergency pacification robots that were designed to survive the Holocaust and surface from the ashes immediately after to begin their task. But a mechanical malfunction left the Calculator damaged during the years since the bombs dropped. Mankind had to find its own ways in the darkness of the post-apocalypse. Only now is the Calculator activating its robots and embarking on its mission of mass genocide. Because of hardwired programming, it is unable to adapt to the world that has arisen while it slumbered. The Calculator will not listen to pleas or threats. It cannot be bargained with. It must be stopped. Deep in the warrior's heart, the decision had been made long ago. To forfeit one's life for the security of others. What nobler end could there be? Sacrifices were always expected, but to lose one's mortal shell and join with a machine is not an ending. Instead, it is a new beginning, revolving around the rebirth of humanity. The first command to speed through the new calculator's relays is the disabling of the active robotic forces, averting the sterilization of all life on the continent. The warrior's mind had proven itself exceptional time and again in the field of battle. Now, working in conjunction with the calculator's sheer processing power, a union between the Brotherhood of Steel and the robotic forces quickly takes shape. The region sees new laws established to ease humanity back into civilized life. Laws that are strictly enforced by the combined patrols of Brotherhood soldiers and pacification robots. To speed the unification process, discrimination against mutates is outlawed. Many prejudices are eliminated through education or the harsh implementation of Brotherhood justice. The willingness to overcome differences opens avenues of recruitment that would have otherwise remained unutilized. Mutated creatures that wish to live in peace under the new regime are welcomed, though hesitantly, into the population. Old hatreds and fears are soon forgotten as the task at hand becomes apparent. Humans, ghouls, super mutants, and deathclaws all work together to begin transforming the wastelands into a post-nuclear utopia. The combined knowledge of the Brotherhood and Calculator's databases are a powerful tool for reshaping the world, and no time is wasted. Technology is slowly reintroduced into the land. Irrigation systems are established, bringing water to the barren soils for the first time in decades. New settlements spring up as land becomes fertile once again, with places of learning becoming the hubs of the fledgling civilization. A combination of old world science with new world wisdom paves the way to higher understanding and unity among the population. The new regime begins to expand across the wasteland, absorbing towns and villages and quickly dispatching those that would halt progress. Soon, the Brotherhood is protector to a string of settlements. As the Brotherhood's power grows, so does its hold on the wasteland. But one question remains. What will happen when this young civilization encounters the original, knowledge-hoarding Brotherhood of Steel? The scribes and elders prepare for the meeting and hope to put differences in the past as the future of mankind hangs in the balance. But that is a battle for another day and perhaps another hero. Having weighed the options, the warrior purposefully strides into the calculator's brain-removing mechanism. While this union of mind and machine represents an end to the hero's mortal shell, it also promises rebirth with the power and resources essential to rescue civilization from the brink of oblivion. With the mind of the warrior working in conjunction with the ancient machine's sheer processing power, a new and potent calculator thunders into existence. Years of neglected faults and decay are repaired almost instantly, becoming the catalyst for dozens of defunct systems to flash back into full operation. The calculator becomes whole for the first time since its conception. Contact is immediately established with the Brotherhood elders, and an alliance is formed. But while no longer an opponent, the calculator chooses to not directly serve the Brotherhood. A delegation of the top Brotherhood elders departs for Vault Zero to discuss details of the new alliance. They never reach their destination. Brotherhood soldiers and robots alike are dispatched to investigate. However, no traces of the ill-fated expedition were found. The impact on Brotherhood morale was devastating. For every soldier knows, leaders define rules, and rules shape the Brotherhood. The calculator quickly integrates with the surviving Brotherhood leaders. protocol robots infused with knowledge of Brotherhood procedure begin to handle operations in Brotherhood outposts. Behemoth robots are sent to bunkers and allied towns to ease the strain of basic needs like patrols, while maintaining a military show of force to keep outlaws at bay. Soon, the Alliance is discarded with all forces now under one computerized leader. The Brotherhood is, once again, reborn. To speed the unification process, discrimination against mutates is outlawed. The new Brotherhood views these creatures as a valuable resource instead of a threat to be eliminated. Old hatreds and fears are soon set aside as humans, ghouls, super mutants, and deathclaws work together to carry out the Brotherhood's plans for transforming the wastelands into a post-nuclear utopia. The new regime begins to expand across the wasteland, absorbing towns and villages, and quickly dispatching those that would halt progress. Soon, the Brotherhood is protector to a string of settlements with entire regions under its influence. As the Calculator's power grows, so does its hold on the continent, but one question remains. What will happen when this new force encounters the original, knowledge-hoarding Brotherhood of Steel? In the depths of Vault Zero, the Calculator processes millions of possible scenarios in preparation for the inevitable meeting. It will not be as easy to eliminate the original West Coast Brotherhood elders, but it must be done. For in the end, there can only be one leader. One that is willing to sacrifice anything or anyone to unify the wasteland. The general, driven by the memory of his wife and convinced by your words, boldly steps into the chamber. His brain is removed once again and placed into a specially constructed container. Now the sole organic influence on the Calculator's supercomputer neural network, he finds himself united with an enemy he had sworn to destroy. His only objective is to restore order to the chaotic wastes and provide his beloved wife with the security he had promised so long ago. The new Calculator dedicates its existence to the rescuing of pure-blood humanity from the brink of destruction. Order is established, with the Brotherhood soldiers and Calculator robots enforcing new laws and spearheading the task of rebuilding and re-educating mankind. The first step is to comfort the battle-weary region. Combined groups of Brotherhood soldiers and robots are dispatched to patrol troubled areas. These forces are charged with the task of dealing the bandit lords a blow that will take them years to recover from. Technology is slowly reintroduced into the land. Irrigation systems are established, bringing water to the barren soils for the first time in decades. New settlements spring up as trade routes become safe from attacks. Once again, humanity begins to prosper. For the various mutates of the land, their destiny is somewhat darker. All known genetic divergents are immediately rounded up into internment camps and registered. Those that comply are forced to endure harsh conditions in labor gulags, where their unique abilities are exploited in tasks considered too dangerous or simply beneath pure-blood humans. Humans who speak out against this new system are disciplined or silenced. Those mutants who choose to flee are ruthlessly hunted like animals. These unfortunates are captured, killed, and displayed across the region as a gruesome reminder to all impure life forms that disobedience from lesser creatures will be met with uncompromising punishment. Small factions of humans, defiant of the new Brotherhood dictatorship, join their outcast cousins to form the Mutant Liberation Army. Any creatures suspected of supporting this outlawed faction are quickly rounded up and interrogated by the General's hand-picked inquisitors. Many are never seen again. But for every disappearance, for every public execution by the new regime, another rebel joins the outlaw movement. Soon, the Brotherhood finds itself under repeated attack. The Mutant Liberation Army attempts to utilize guerrilla tactics to offset the overwhelming combined force of robot and Brotherhood soldiers. The rebels fight for many reasons now: revenge, freedom, and a chance for a better life. Some join the battle because waging war is all they know. It is a struggle they are destined to lose. For humanity, however, progress is made. It comes slowly at first, for time is an ingredient as important as order and determination when great changes are to be made. Soon, without the required resources and firepower, the Mutant Liberation Army is driven west, back to an area where many of them met bitter defeat not long ago. Their actions becoming more and more desperate when they realize they are being driven back into a region controlled by the old Brotherhood. Humanity rules the land again, while the mutates have nothing but death. It lies waiting over every hill, behind every rock, through every crosshair. They are without justice. They are without hope. Such is life in the wasteland. When the acrid smoke clears, nothing remains of the entity known as the Calculator, except burnt wires and broken valves. It is a decisive victory for humanity, for at the crucial point in the raging battle, the robots were stopped dead in their course of destruction. The warrior can only ponder on the lost opportunity that the destruction of such a technological marvel represents. History has shown that even the victors of battle have some regrets, but sometimes one must move forward. The Brotherhood is quick to establish Vault Zero as its main base of operations. Although much destruction was wrought here, it still represents a massive storehouse of knowledge and technology. The ancient structure becomes the central hub of operations, coordinating between outposts far and near, and reinforcing their supply lines and transport routes across the countryside, ironically mimicking the original purpose of their defeated enemy. Recruitment and education of the local tribal and village populations becomes the all-important mission of the depleted and wounded Brotherhood. But the education is not one-sided. After generations of surviving in the harshness of the wastelands, the indigenous people are in tune with the land. They have valuable lessons to teach those immersed solely in technology, lessons of nature and balance that the Brotherhood had previously neglected. Not all of the wasteland's inhabitants are sharing the same noble purpose. Opportunistic raiders and bandits enjoy the fruits of a recovering, war-torn Brotherhood. Patrols are scarce and in smaller numbers than the thieves remember encountering in the past, as the Brotherhood focuses on consolidating its power base. Several frontier outposts are lost as the Brotherhood finds they are fighting a guerrilla war without the support of large numbers. But adversity and hardship are as familiar to the Brotherhood as discipline and knowledge, and they learn their lessons quickly. With a new power over this region comes a new responsibility. All plans for re-establishing contact with the West are postponed indefinitely. Recruitment begins anew, and the initiate ranks swell. All military efforts are then concentrated on uprooting all outlaw predators in the region, finally making it safe for the Brotherhood and its allies. In time, the Brotherhood once again rules the land. Resources are then allocated to expansion and development. Technology becomes more widespread, with irrigation systems established to make the nuclear-blasted land fertile. Humanity once again starts to prosper. The hero, the warrior of the Brotherhood, now a general, shares the burden and the satisfaction of overseeing civilization's development. The Brotherhood of Steel has come through the trials of this region and emerged scarred, but wiser. It will be decades before a reunion is possible between the old Brotherhood and the new Brotherhood regime. In that time, there are new alliances to be made, new battles to be fought, new victories to be had. But that is a tale for another day.
Briefly, a few facts about fallout.
It's a threat.
We can increase our chances of surviving nuclear attack. And the key to survival.
Protect yourself and your family.
The goal is adequate fallout shelter space for every man, woman, and child.
Be ready to assist in defense preparations in your community.
This goal can be reached.
Your survival chances against dangerous fallout are excellent.
Radiation is something we live with every day. We can face the facts about fallout and take action to protect ourselves against this hazard.
For fallout is only one of the problems which the nation must be prepared to meet if it is to survive in the nuclear age.
In the 1950s, we dreamed of a better world. Clean, fusion-powered cars, robots that walk the dog, peaceful existence thanks to the wonders of science. We were close to achieving that dream when war broke out. Nuclear weapons were used without restraint. It was the nightmare everyone feared. It was the Great War. Millions died during the first attacks. A few people fled to underground vaults, but many more on the surface fell victim to the burning, poisonous air. For those who endured, there was only the wasteland. No order, no law, only survival. Radiation and new viruses changed the face of life on Earth forever. Out of nowhere, an army of giants called mutants appeared. They slaughtered many people and altered many more to add to their numbers. The Brotherhood of Steel, self-appointed knights of the wasteland, arose to drive off the mutants. They gave humanity peace and a glimmer of hope. But even now, the Brotherhood remains small in number, limited in power. And the dangers of the wasteland only seem to grow with each day that passes.
A lonely electron with nothing to do. Pairs up with a neutron for a cocktail or two. Atomic kisses, survived by a few. Nuclear blast. Said the electron to the neutron, you sure could be dense. With this much attraction, there's no civil defense. Let go of that energy, no need to be tense. Give me that nuclear blast. Einstein said that space is elastic. Twist his theory, it comes out bombastic. A mushroom cloud, a sight fantastic. Stick your head between your legs, kiss your ass goodbye. A happy electron, a neutron its mate. Don't give a damn about apocalyptic fate. They party till midnight, then boom, it's too late. It's a nuclear blast.
wasteland lies the small town of Carbon. Once a model of pleasant rural America, Carbon is a ghost town, its people crushed by fear and strife. Carrying minimal supplies, a Brotherhood initiate enters this troubled town. The mission begins simply. Establish contact with a group of Brotherhood paladins. But in the wasteland, nothing is ever that easy.
Hey! Back in line, slaves. I can't sell you if you're dead, but I'll shoot you in the back if you try to run.
I don't want to die.
As for you, insects, you better bring those supplies by tomorrow.
Wait, you can't do this.
Shut your mouth, worm, before I step on you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you gorgeous hunks, let's go. And anyone who's too drunk to walk gets left behind. Now move!
Hey, where's Frank?
Still in the bar. He'll catch up later. Come on.
Come on! That'll teach you to look at me, craphead. Hey, armpit. Another round of your finest.
I ain't serving you bastards a freaking thing unless I get paid for the last 6 rounds. Oh, crap!
We're gonna trash your place, then we're gonna kick your ass, and then we'll have another round.
Look, I didn't have anything to do with your boys getting killed. It was that stranger from the Brotherhood.
You're just an innocent bystander, aren't you?
Yeah! I ain't done nothing wrong.
That fire feels nice. Time to show these people that you don't mess with the raiders. Burn anything that moves, then burn anything that doesn't move. Meet me back at the mill when you're done. Nice doing business with you. If you need any more help... What the hell was that? You better not be messing with me, you big...
I have nothing to do with it. My troops have gathered the slaves and moved on. Our business is concluded.
Wait! Where are you going? If there's a problem, maybe you can stay and help me out. Then I can help you.
Your charms are wasted on me. Frankly, I think you're repulsive, selling your own kind. Whatever problem you now face, it's yours to face alone.
I'm not giving you a choice! You goddamn impotent freak!
city of loss, a shattered husk of the shining metropolis it once was. Decaying bodies and broken stone give the air a graveyard stench. Los is a ghoul city. And somewhere here, the Brotherhood Initiate hopes to find the lost paladins and learn more about this mutant army. The field test has become a far greater mission. We strive in battles dire, in unseen conflictions with shapes bred from the forsaken wilderness. Shapes of beast, insect, serpent, and human.
Help! Oh God, somebody help me!
Lost behind me stands a terrible flaming sun. It dictates the penalty for trespass. Annihilation.
God, no!
Let the word go forth. None may enter the city of Los without the permission of the Church of the Lost.
Wow, that's the third sacrifice this week.
Who cares? It's just a human.
Come on, let's go pick our scabs.
We ain't gonna make it to deal with the mutants, are we?
Don't know. They're on the docks right now. Just talking.
Talking? What are they talking about, huh?
Would you take it easy, man? You're tripping. Someone's coming down from the bridge.
Hope it's that dork geese. Let's bust his head. Where have you hidden the key, human? You will speak swift-winged words, or suffer dark visions of torment.
Do your worst, zombie. I'm not afraid.
You do not comprehend that we are the same. The Brotherhood of Steel and the Church of the Lost, guarding against the terrors of science.
We are not the same. And when a squad of Brotherhood Knights arrive, they will tear through your precious city, digging up all your secrets.
You will die tomorrow, howling.
Come on. I hid the vault key here before I was captured. Here it is!
We get left behind, but we find good smashing. Smash again, pound it good.
Warning, system malfunction. Warning.
See what you do. I told you not to smash it. I found it that way. Wait, what was that? Uh-oh. We have bad feeling about this. The Vault Tech Corporation designed the underground facilities that protected, or failed to protect, thousands of lives during the nuclear war. It was only logical that Vault Tech had its own vault, where specialists and executives have lived for many years, safely conducting research to benefit the failing world above. But what holy grail lies hidden within this stronghold? What horrors lie dormant here, awaiting their unsuspecting prey?
Welcome to the Vault Tech Corporate Vault. This vault is built to ensure the protection of Vault Tech employees and their families. Enjoy the safety and comfort of the vault, whatever may happen in the world above.
Funny. Okay, go away now.
The Vault Tech Corporate Vault is also designed with extensive research facilities so that exciting new Vault Tech products can continue to be developed. We have fitness facilities, entertainment lounges, private living quarters, even sprawling gardens. Vault Tech has designed this vault to meet your every need. You and your children can look forward to a life of peace and prosperity here inside the Vault Tech Corporate Vault, where everything is better thanks to Vault Tech.
So, you are prepared to kill me, but you do not know why. The secret lies below us. You'll learn it soon enough. Or will you? Wake the little mouse. You thought you had me, didn't you? I give you credit for fighting bravely, but your time has passed now. Let me tell you about this vault. There's a whole section that's infested by terrible beasts. The smell of blood will drive them insane with hunger. Hold fast. Throw this trash down the hole.
Yes, sir. Okay, you get legs. You get legs. They don't like smelly feet.
I know it's got to be here somewhere. Oh my god. Hello? Are you alive?
Checking Sector G13. Please clear this area. Organisms detected. Initiate extermination sequence. Stand by. Stand by. Extermination complete. Glad to be of service.
Unit 5 report. Come in, Unit 5. They found some humans. They have fun smashing while we get stuck watching stupid door. It's our assignment to guard the door to the lab. Do you think this is the place? The place we find a cure? Addis says we will, and he hasn't been wrong yet. Wow, a cure. We can't even remember what it's like. Quiet, someone's coming. We don't hear any signal. They didn't use the signal. Everyone go to stealth mode.
Listen to me. She could return at any second. What was that? Listen, you must leave. leave here and destroy this vault. There are things that must be kept hidden from the world. Leave me. Go quickly. It's too late.
We have to get to the ventilation shaft. Hurry!
We have you now, little blue people.
Thanks. I thought I was a goner for sure.
Get into the ventilation shaft and lock it behind you. I will stay and fight for as long as I am able.
But you can't. All right. Good luck.
Trying to protect your friends, human. It doesn't matter. We want the vault, and will destroy any who oppose us.
I do not fear death. Let us see whose weapons are greater.
When guard duty over, Bob, me have to go body. Just wait. Guard duty is almost over. But me have to go bad. Okay. You go, I'll stay. No!
System malfunction. Please alert vault maintenance. Nuclear device is now armed. Vault seals
ready to engage.
Countdown sequence
Commencing.
malfunction. The nuclear device is about to detonate. Now.
Welcome to the Vault Tech Guide to Post-Nuclear Intimacy. As a survivor of the nuclear holocaust, you, yes you, will be responsible for the continuation of the human race. But how will nuclear war change how we live and love? Here are some important things to keep in mind to ensure safe and fun breeding experiences. Proper attire and good grooming are very important. Just because you live in a post-apocalyptic wasteland doesn't mean you have to look like you do. Be sure to also practice good hygiene down there. Keep your equipment clean. Your partner will thank you. Remember that sexually transmitted diseases are organisms. They can mutate too. When selecting a potential mate, be sure your partner has all the necessary qualities for successful breeding. Sometimes the right approach can make all the difference between a successful first meeting and a fatal one. Before consummating the act with your partner, be sure to set the proper mood for an intimate adventure. Lighting, music, and a light alcoholic beverage can help turn stale breeding procedures into enjoyable experiences. Tell your partner what you like, and likewise, be attentive to the needs of your partner during intercourse. Go ahead and experiment. With all the breeding you'll be doing, you'll need to try new things to maintain that spark. We at Vault-Tec encourage you to use restraint when it comes to self-pleasure. Not only is masturbation a waste of precious breeding materials, it will stunt your growth and cause you to go blind. Masturbation is a crime against humanity. Remember to breed as often as you can, with as many people as possible. With your help, we can repopulate the Earth with happy, healthy people. We hope you enjoyed our presentation. And coming soon, the Vault-Tec Guide to Post-Apocalyptic Parenthood.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe me, I don't set the world on fire.
War. War never changes. Since the dawn of humankind, when our ancestors first discovered the killing power of rock and bone, Blood has been spilled in the name of everything, from God to justice to simple psychotic rage. In the year 2077, after millennia of armed conflict, the destructive nature of man could sustain itself no longer. The world was plunged into an abyss of nuclear fire and radiation. But it was not, as some had predicted, the end of the world. Instead, the apocalypse was simply the prologue to another bloody chapter of human history. For man had succeeded in destroying the world, but war never changes. In the early days, thousands were spared the horrors of the Holocaust by taking refuge in enormous underground shelters known as vaults. But when they emerged, they had only the hell of the wastes to greet them. All except those in Vault 101. For on that fateful day, when fire rained from the sky, the giant steel door of Vault 101 slid closed and never reopened. It was here you were born. It is here you will die. Because in Vault 101, no one ever enters, and no one ever leaves. And so it was that the lone wanderer ventured forth from Vault 101, intent on discovering the fate of a father who had once sacrificed the future of humanity for that of his only child. The Capital Wasteland proved a cruel, inhospitable place. But it was not until the end of this long road that the lone wanderer learned the true meaning of that greatest of virtues, sacrifice. Stepping into the irradiated control chamber of Project Purity, the child followed the example of the father, sacrificing life itself for the greater good of mankind. It was not until the end of this long road that the lone wanderer was faced with that greatest of virtues, sacrifice. But the child refused to follow the father's selfless example, instead allowing a true hero to venture into the irradiated control chamber of Project Purity and sacrifice her own life for the greater good of mankind. It was not until the end of this long road that the lone wanderer was faced with that greatest of virtues, sacrifice. But the child refused to follow the father's selfless example. Thankfully, when selected by the sinister president to be his instrument of annihilation, the wanderer refused. Humanity, with all its flaws, was deemed worthy of preservation. The waters of life flowed at last, free and pure for any and all. The Capital Wasteland, at long last, was saved. Thankfully, when selected by the sinister president to be his instrument of annihilation, the wanderer refused. Humanity, with all its flaws, was deemed worthy of preservation. The waters of life flowed at last, free and pure for any and all. The capital wasteland, at long last, was saved. Sadly, when selected by the sinister president to be his instrument of annihilation, the Wanderer agreed. Humanity would be preserved, but only in its purest form. The waters of life flowed at last, but the virus contained within soon eradicated all those deemed unworthy of salvation. The capital wasteland, despite its progress, became a graveyard. So ends the story of the Lone Wanderer, who stepped through the great door of Vault 101 and into the annals of legend. But the tale of humanity will never come to a close, for the struggle of survival is a war without end. And war never changes. So ends the story of the Lone Wanderer, who stepped through the great door of Vault 101 and into the annals of legend. But the tale of humanity will never come to a close, for the struggle of survival is a war without end. And war never changes. The capital wasteland proved a cruel, inhospitable place, but the Lone Wanderer refused to surrender to the vices that had claimed so many others. The values passed on from father to child, selflessness, compassion, honor, guided this noble soul through countless trials and triumphs. The capital wasteland proved a cruel, inhospitable place, and the Lone Wanderer ultimately surrendered to the vices that had claimed so many others. Selfishness, greed, cruelty. These were the values that guided a lost soul through countless trials and triumphs. It was not until the end of this long road that the Lone Wanderer was faced with that greatest of virtues, sacrifice. But the child refused to follow the father's selfless example, instead allowing a true hero to venture into the irradiated control chamber of Project Purity. It was not until the end of this long road that the Lone Wanderer was faced with that greatest of virtues, sacrifice. But the child refused to follow the father's selfless example, instead allowing a true hero to venture into the irradiated control chamber of Project Purity. It was not until the end of this long road that the Lone Wanderer was faced with that greatest of virtues, sacrifice. But the child refused to follow the father's selfless example, instead allowing a true hero to venture into the irradiated control chamber of Project Purity.
The story of too much. Some things are good in small quantities, like cookies, candy, and puppies. As you may know, much of our electricity comes from nuclear energy. In small quantities, this fantastic friend keeps us safe, clean, and happy. But in large quantities, nuclear energy can be harmful. Talk to your family about the effects of nuclear energy. The more you know, the better. This story brought to you by Vault-Tec.
Vault-Tec presents Tomorrow's Technology Today.
At Vault-Tec, we're more than just America's first choice in vault technology. Thanks to military science, we're also your first choice in personal defense. Say hello to VATS and say goodbye to any post-nuclear nuisance. Using advanced real-time tactical imagery, VATS scans the threat, pinpointing vulnerable areas, calculating success potential, and increasing strategic decisiveness. In other words, VATS lets you pause for a moment and makes Mr. Scary go away. With VATS, personal defense is a snap. That's the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System. Just one more way Vault-Tec is preparing you and your family for the future.
Here we are, son, our nation's capital.
There's nothing to do here. I'm bored.
Nothing to do? Why, there's not a foot of this town that isn't packed with heroes and history. It's not called the capital for nothing. Right, Tom?
That's right, Abe. In fact, every year, millions of tourists come to enjoy our beautiful nature and advanced technology. Right, George?
Ah, yes, we've seen so much over the years, and there's more to come. But one thing's for sure, we'll always be here, no matter what happens.
Wow, Dad, I guess there really is a lot to see here.
Glad you changed your mind. Let's go see what we can see.
How about you? Are you ready to see what you can see? We're waiting. Explore the nation's capital.
Before we begin this episode of The Adventures of Captain Cosmos, we've got a message from the fine folks at Pulaski Preservation Services, purveyors of products there when you actually need them. Seems there's been a lot of talk these days about vault life, but not all of us have the luxury to spend so much on something that, frankly, we may not actually need. Unlike those other guys, the sensible folks at Pulaski Preservation Services have created an affordable line of personal protection products to make sure no one gets left behind. Personal protection, there when you actually need it. Remember, that's Pulaski Preservation Shelters. Simply there when you actually need them. Exact change only. And now on to our show, The Adventures of Captain Cosmos, co-starring Jangles, the Moon Monkey.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a housewife. I'm a vault warranty inspector. I don't know what I'm gonna be.
Now, finding your future is easy with the Generalized Occupational Aptitude Test.
Get a job that sticks.
See how easy it is.
Find your new career.
Hey, Jimmy, are you tired of bullies pushing you around?
Boy, am I.
What if you could get rid of them forever?
Jeez, mister.
You see, Jimmy, our government has bullies too.
Wow, really?
That's right. Which is why we've developed some whiz-bang new weapons, so bullies around the world never bother us again.
Huh, I think I get it.
Well, Jimmy, maybe you should just see for yourself.
Boy, thanks, mister.
Careful there, sport. The Fat Man Tactical Nuclear Catapult. Enlist now and demo one today.
Vault Tech presents Growing Up. You're growing up. And other things are changing too. You know what that means. Pip-Boy 3000. Part of your life. With Pip-Boy, all life's answers are in sight.
Pip-Boy 3000, part of your life. Pip-Boy 3000, part of your life. With Pip-Boy, all life's answers are in sight. That's right.
Traffic is terrible and getting worse every day. Go Metro. Avoid pollution, congestion. It's the smart way. Remember, on Sundays, everyone rides free. And now, meet the Metro Protectron.
Tickets, please.
Metro's newest answer to your commuting calamity.
Tickets, please.
He's programmed for speed, efficiency, and friendliness.
Good morning. It's a great day.
See why the Metro Protectron makes your commute faster and safer.
Tickets, please.
never changes. When atomic fire consumed the Earth, those who survived did so in great underground vaults. When they opened, their inhabitants set out across the ruins of the old world to build new societies, establishing villages, forming tribes. As decades passed, what had been the American Southwest united beneath the flag of the new California Republic, dedicated to old world values of democracy and the rule of law. As the Republic grew, so did its needs. Scouts spread east, seeking territory and wealth in the dry and merciless expanse of the Mojave Desert. They returned with tales of a city untouched by the warheads that had scorched the rest of the world, and a great wall spanning the Colorado River. The NCR mobilized its army and sent it east to occupy Hoover Dam and restore it to working condition. But across the Colorado, another society had arisen under a different flag. A vast army of slaves forged from the conquest of 86 tribes, Caesar's Legion. 4 years have passed since the Republic held the dam, just barely, against the Legion's onslaught. The Legion did not retreat. Across the river, it gathers strength. Campfires burn, training drums beat. Through it all, the New Vegas Strip has stayed open for business, under the control of its mysterious overseer, Mr. House, and his army of rehabilitated tribals and police robots. You are a courier, hired by the Mojave Express to deliver a package to the New Vegas Strip. What seemed like a simple delivery job has taken a turn for the worse.
You got what you were after, so pay up.
You're crying in the rain, Pally.
Guess who's waking up over here?
Time to cash out.
Will you get it over with?
Maybe cons kill people without looking them in the face. But I ain't a fink. Dig? You've made your last delivery, kid. Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Is that thing silver?
You're not getting paid to run your mouth.
So far, you ain't paid us nothing.
You'll get your caps when the job's done.
Is this deep enough?
Yeah. Take that thing off. Real shame you got caught up in this, kid. Must seem like bad luck. Truth is, game was rigged from the start.
Howdy, partner. Fine evening, ain't it? Friend, you look like you could use a sarsaparilla.
That the thing you were talking about?
Beautiful, ain't it? It's platinum.
Can't see shit out here.
Either way, you owe us.
I told you. You'll get paid when we get there.
We just walked through hell, man.
What are you, dense? I don't got it here.
Hey, what do you want me to do with this?
Oh, I almost forgot. Take off the hood. Well, kid, you're our last loose end. Shame you had to get caught in the middle of all this. Bet you don't even know why you're here. But hey, if it makes you feel any better, it's nothing personal. Just bad luck.
Well, we're not going back north. We're lucky to be alive.
How else are we supposed to get back, genius?
We go east. Take the 95.
East. You moron. That'll take us days out of our way.
Then you could just go back by yourself.
Fine. Anything to get you two to shut up.
Howdy, partner. Sure is one fine evening, ain't it? Give me your hand, partner. Let's get you out of there. You okay, partner? You look like you could use a sarsaparilla.
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for. Suddenly appeared before me, the only one my arms will hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. And when I looked to the moon, it turned to
War. War never changes.
And so the courier who had cheated death in the cemetery outside Good Springs cheated death once again, and the Mojave Wasteland was forever changed. Mr. House's Securitron army took control of Hoover Dam and the Strip, pushing both the Legion and the exhausted NCR out of New Vegas. Mr. House continued to run New Vegas his way, a despotic vision of pre-war glory. The streets were orderly, efficient, cold. New Vegas continued to be the sole place in the wasteland where fortunes were won and lost in the blink of an eye. The courier, who had a mixed history in the wasteland, kept the status quo at Hoover Dam. Mr. House would keep New Vegas stable, if not free, for generations. Mr. House afforded the courier every luxury at his disposal in the Lucky 38.
Black Mountain Radio continued to broadcast its peculiar form of propaganda. Raul Tejada faced his execution each day, though pardoned in the end. Travelers venturing too near Black Mountain continued to be harassed by Tabitha's followers.
Still grappling with self-doubt over his usefulness in the face of old age, Raul was never able to find peace with himself. Eventually, he left the Mojave and assumed a new name, as he had done so many times before.
Mr. House showed little interest on the Boomers, who eventually began venturing out to Nellis to meet and trade with travelers.
Their leaders destroyed by the courier, the fiends scattered throughout the wasteland. Without the organization of Motor Runner, Cook, Violet, and Driver Nephi, they were easy prey.
After Mr. House gained control of New Vegas, he sent a Securitron to Good Springs as a token of appreciation for helping the courier. Victor was a mixed blessing, however, as he continually monitored the town for Mr. House.
Cass lived to see Hoover Dam in its old world glory, humming with power the likes of which the Mojave had never seen. Vegas burned brighter than ever. Securitrons filled the streets, and Cass's heart skipped, just a little. Her last words were to the dam, and to herself. We were going full speed ahead, but facing backwards the whole time.
Thanks to the courier and Lily, a cure for the Nightkin's schizophrenia was found shortly after Dr. Henry's experiment concluded. Nightkin and other super mutants in the wasteland flocked to Jacobstown, and the town became known as a haven where a mutant could find peace.
Lily continued to take her medicine at half doses, and although she remembered her grandchildren, her mind remained muddled and confused. Eventually, she parted ways with the courier and traveled west, seeking the remnants of her past.
Accusing the Kings of lying with a foreign invader for their newfound ties to the NCR, Mr. House punished them by ordering their forced removal. The Kings, defiant to the end, were destroyed to the last man by House's Securitrons.
The NCR, battered by the loss of the dam, were unable to devote any troops to retaking the correctional facility from the Powder Gangers. As a result, Powder Ganger raids on caravans became an unfortunate fact of life in the Mojave for years to come.
Armed with a wide array of improvised explosives and stolen weapons, the Vault 19 Powder Gang tormented the Mojave wasteland for years. Citizens of the NCR were favorite targets, and they always suffered the worst fates.
After their bold arrival at Hoover Dam, the remnants disappeared as quickly as they came. Legends of their power spread throughout the Southwest, a reminder of why people once feared the sight of vertibirds in the sky.
And so the courier's road came to an end, for now. In the new world of the Mojave Wasteland, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died just as they had in the old world. Because war never changes.
You've heard of the Sierra Madre Casino. We all have. The legend, the curses, foolishness about it lying in the middle of the city of the dead. Buried beneath a blood-red cloud. A bright, shining monument luring treasure hunters to their doom. The world's most famous stars and entertainers were invited to its grand opening. An invitation was a sign of exclusiveness. The opening was supposed to symbolize a road to a brighter future, not just for the world, but for all who came to its doors. A chance for anyone to begin again. Except the Sierra Madre never opened. The war froze it in time, like a big flashbulb going off. The grand opening, one big ending of humanity. It's still out there, in the wastes, preserved, just waiting for someone to crack it open. But getting to it, that's not the hard part. It's letting go.
The courier, lured by the promise of the Sierra Madre, could not escape. Once inside the vault, the casino did not let go. When the courier finally passed away, the casino created a new hologram to walk with the other ghosts that filled its casino. It was a pre-programmed homage intended for another. It assumed a new meaning in the likeness of the courier. A means of allowing even the dead to begin again.
I've read your Pip-Boy, seen what you've done. If you wish to end them, I could use someone like you. Resourceful, uncompromising. NCR has many soldiers, many citizens. Perhaps I was too quick to put a collar on a potential ally. Very well, I'll come down and show you what the Sierra Madre has in store. In the years that followed, the legend of the Sierra Madre faded, and there were no new visitors to the city. Years later, when a mysterious blood-red cloud began to roll across the Mojave, then west toward the Republic, no one knew where it had come from. Only that it brought death in its wake. Attempts to find the source of the toxic cloud failed. The Mojave was cut off. Through the cloud, lights were seen from Helios 1. There were stories of ghosts immune to gunfire who struck down anyone they saw with rays of light. The last chapter of the Mojave came when a modified Repcon rocket struck Hoover Dam, releasing a blood-red cloud, killing all stationed there. All attempts to penetrate the cloud and retake the dam failed, and both the NCR and Legion finally turned away from it, citing the place as cursed. In the years that followed, the legend of the Sierra Madre faded, and there were no new visitors to the city. Only two remained alive in the depths of the cloud at the Sierra Madre, waiting for their new world to begin again.
The survivors of the Sierra Madre thought about gathering at the fountain and waiting for the courier. In the end, the caller's silence made them uneasy, and the fear of turning on each other made them hesitate and leave the goodbyes unspoken. The radio message at the fountain was enough for them, and there was no need to add another farewell on top of all they had suffered.
Dog forgot himself, as did the voice that raged within him. After their passing, a new voice spoke within the mutant shell. It was difficult for the voice to remember the two it once was. There was the beast, Dog, consumed by hunger. And the other in reverse, the one consumed by control. Both were driven by need for the other. The courier brought them together somehow, joined the two into one. All that happened at the Sierra Madre was a faint memory to the new personality, like a flickering light in the clouds of the mind. The new voice did not think of the courier again until the battle at the Divide reached his ears. The battle between the two couriers, beneath the torn skies and the old world flag, each bearing a message for the other. And the mutant prayed the courier that had saved him had been saved in return.
Dean Domino, entertainer, singer, thief, explored the Sierra Madre not long after he was rescued by the courier. Once he left the theater, the Sierra Madre recognized him as a guest, and many doors opened to him. He had to admit it had been built to last. During his search, he came across the final records of Vera and Sinclair, and realized what happened the night the bombs fell. He felt strangely sad for a moment, and he had no idea why. Shrugging it off, his mind turned instead to where the courier had come from. Vegas still survived, out there in the Mojave. Its sights, sounds, and casinos, ripe for the taking. So, giving the Sierra Madre one last nod and a wink, he set off beyond the cloud to begin again.
Christine, her mission complete, found new purpose as the Sierra Madre's warden. She watched over it silently, by choice. Over time, the ghost people came to see her as one of the holograms. They would watch, silently, as she walked among them. At times, Christine thought of the courier, who had kept Elijah's hand from her throat. The courier reminded her of the other courier she had met in the Big Empty, and wondered if the two had found each other at last. She did not think of them again until she heard the legends of the Divide. The Divide, where the two messengers, the two couriers, fought beneath an ancient flag, at the edge of the world.
You heard of the Sierra Madre Casino?
We all have. The legend, the curses.
Some foolishness about it lying in the middle of a city of dead.
A city of ghosts.
Beneath a blood-red cloud.
A bright, shining monument, reaching out, luring treasure hunters to their doom. An illusion.
A promise that you can change your fortunes. Begin again.
Finding it, though. That's not the hard part. It's letting go.
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 The paths we're following are slow going, so you might as well keep your ears open and listen to what old Jed has to say. A few decades back, folks in the NCR started to hear about a community in northern Utah called New Canaan. Didn't know much about them, except that they were religious folks, sent out missionaries to talk to the tribes. We've seen our share of cults, but the New Canaanites, they were honest traders. Good fighters, too. Raiders wouldn't tangle with them. But then, the Legion appeared in Arizona. I reckon you know all about them. Turns out Caesar's first war chief, the Malpace Legate, was a New Canaanite, Joshua Graham. Legend goes that Graham was the meanest, toughest son of a bitch in the whole damn Legion. The New Canaanites wouldn't talk about him. They were ashamed. Guess I can't blame them. Well, at Hoover Dam, the Malpace Legate finally met his match. Hanlon and Oliver kicked his New Canaanite butt right back over the river. Caesar had to make an example for the others, to show them that even at the highest level, failure wouldn't be tolerated. He had Graham covered in pitch, lit on fire, and thrown into the Grand Canyon. People say he didn't even scream on the way down. Not long after, some of the slaves and tribals started to talk. Said Graham wasn't dead. Shouldn't have been any surprise. All this talk bothered Caesar, so he forbade anyone from speaking his name. Wanted to erase Joshua Graham from history. He got his wish. Joshua Graham disappeared, and in his place came legends of the burned man walking the wastes. Probably just a tribal ghost story. But New Canaan's been silent for a long time. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe the Malpace Legate is dead.
Or maybe Joshua Graham did crawl out of that canyon and finally found his way back home. And so it was that the conflict between the New Canaanites and the Whitelegs was finally resolved. The courier's involvement had tipped the scale, shifting the fragile balance of power.
Despite their defeat at Three Marys and the death of their war chief, the Whitelegs were determined to pursue the other New Canaanites. But when they finally tracked down their prey in Colorado, they discovered the tables had been turned. The Whitelegs who survived the New Canaanites' ambushes were hunted down by dead horses before they could reach the safety of the Great Salt Lake. When word of the Whitelegs' diminished numbers reached the 80s tribe, war was declared. And by year's end, the Whitelegs had been wiped out.
The Sorrows fought beside Joshua Graham and the dead horses, eradicating the threat the Whitelegs posed to Zion. When the courier and Joshua Graham felled Salt upon wounds, their victory was celebrated with a great feast. The Sorrows' transformation from a peaceful, timid tribe into a proud and warlike people broke Daniel's heart. He tried to take solace in the knowledge that they would remain in Zion, but it was a small comfort. The Sorrows' innocence was lost.
Having helped eradicate the Whitelegs from Zion, the dead horses returned to Dead Horse Point in triumph. They remained neutral toward the Sorrows, but as years went on, there were periods of competitive friction, even violence between the tribes. The New Canaanites, Daniel especially, intervened regularly as mediators, but found it difficult to reconcile the tribe's conflicts.
The defeat of the Whitelegs in Zion marked a turning point in the fortunes of the Happy Trails Caravan Company. Every 2 months, the caravan met with the New Canaanites in Zion Valley to trade. Happy Trails soon returned to prosperity. The vigilance of the Sorrows and dead horses in defending southwestern Utah, initially startling to Happy Trails caravans, soon proved a blessing. The tribes united against the 80s, driving them back from Highway 50, and thus opening yet another trading route for Happy Trails caravans.
Waking Cloud turned bitter and resentful toward Daniel and the New Canaanites when she learned her husband's death had been concealed from her. She poisoned some of her tribe against New Canaanite teachings, making relations between the groups difficult from time to time.
Though the courier had stopped Joshua Graham from executing Salt upon wounds, the war chief still fell in battle. The Whitelegs defeated at Three Marys. Joshua led the Sorrows and dead horses in tending to their comrades and burning the corpses of their foes. He continued to advocate militant opposition to the enemies of New Canaan and showed little quarter to those he fought. And yet he was changed. He no longer reveled in the brutality and cruelty for which he had been known in his former life. His inner demons, if not extinguished, were at the least appeased.
For years after the defeat of the Whitelegs, Daniel did his best to minister to the Sorrows' spiritual needs. Try as he might, he could not hold back the tribe's increasing militancy and reverence of Joshua Graham. Demoralized, he returned to his family and Dead Horse Point. His failures haunted him for the rest of his days.
And with that, the courier walked out of the history of the tribes of Zion and back to the gathering storm of the Mojave Wasteland.
In the years before the Great War, Big Mountain had been the home to the brightest minds of the 21st century. Scientists of vision were drawn to the facility to tackle the greatest technological challenges of the era. They sought to create a new world, fueled by technology for the benefit of all mankind. Sonic emitters, space-age alloys, DNA hybridization, force field particle research, orthodox advances in cranial, cardiac, and trauma surgery. The hopes and dreams of a century became realities in the electronic forges of Big Mountain. The nucleus of this research was the Dome, a huge stone facility that held the labs of every science known to man. It was a think tank where no problem could not be solved, where no question could not be answered. The Great War brought a new energy to Big Mountain and its scientists. Although sheltered from the front lines, the scientists waged their own war, fighting their battles at the atomic level. Equations and calculations marched endlessly across chalkboards and computer terminals toward one solution: winning the war. For years, the minds and computers of Big Mountain were a blaze of trajectories, weapon schematics, and nuclear theories. The problems began to outpace the solutions, first geometrically, then exponentially. As the war escalated, so did the questions. On the night of October 23rd, 2077, the scientists received an answer that put all their questions to rest. In the aftermath, Big Mountain's silent experiments went to sleep, their creators slowly dying in the new world that had been left behind. And the great stone in the middle of the Big Empty lay untouched, filled with countless technological wonders. Wonders that, in the end, had been answers to the wrong question. As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magneto-hydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the big empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other sink personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind-eye old Jefferson eventually discovered a new sound. Silence. It only made him more filled with the blues than before. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names once too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier made his way through the X-8 facility, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. They eventually created new cyberdons to root out commie traitors from the wasteland. Traitors like Betsy Bright, Richie Marcus. Although they couldn't seem to find any commies, so they turned on themselves, howling sonic barks that echoed miles across the landscape.
The infiltration program in X-13 continued to scan for the subject and the stealth suit prototype long after the test was over. Frustrated and unable to find its lost technology, X-13 expanded its network of laser tripwires, sensors, and robo-brains out across Big Mountain. This glittering blue light beam forest cleanly bisected anything that entered its depths, slicing them into small segmented parts for easy disposal.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues. It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent. as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, Old World blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was Old World blues, and New World hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
The divide erupted in fire, violent, red, as the last message of the two couriers arced into the sky. The missiles rained like spears down on the land, burning flags and communities alike, destroying all they struck. The history of the West was erased for the second time, thorough and complete, and America slept once more. Hopeville burned lightless in the night, invisible fires of radiation scorching it from within and without. It is said a man still walked its streets with a tattered jacket, an old world flag etched on the back. He remained there, perhaps as punishment for the scars he left on the wastes, or a reminder of a history he could not forget. For Ulysses, his journey was over. The courier had been the end of his road. As for the courier, he turned his back on his home for the second time and made his way back, navigating the treachery of the divide. Tunnelers and the marked men avoided the lone figure, as if recognizing the courier's right to passage, or out of fear. The courier walked until he stood again upon the edge of the divide, the last road he would walk before the second battle for Hoover Dam. There, beside his feet, was a final package from one courier to another. A footlocker bearing a gift and a message. But that message, it is something for couriers to carry, and for them alone. The lights flickered across the divide, reminders that the old world histories persist and find meaning in the present. It said, war never changes. Men do, through the roads they walk. And this road has reached its end.
War. War never changes. In the year 1945, my great-great-grandfather, serving in the army, wondered when he'd get to go home to his wife and the son he'd never seen. He got his wish when the U.S. ended World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The world awaited Armageddon. Instead, something miraculous happened. We began to use atomic energy not as a weapon, but as a nearly limitless source of power. People enjoyed luxuries once thought the realm of science fiction. Domestic robots, fusion-powered cars, portable computers. But then, in the 21st century, people awoke from the American dream. Years of consumption led to shortages of every major resource. The entire world unraveled. Peace became a distant memory. It is now the year 2077. We stand on the brink of total war. And I am afraid. For myself, for my wife, for my infant son. Because if my time in the army taught me one thing, it's that war never changes. I've lost Sean all over again. I close my eyes, I see my life before all of this, before the bombs. Everything can change in an instant, and the future you plan for yourself shifts, whether or not you're ready. At some point, it happens to all of us. This wasn't the world I wanted, but it was the one I found myself in. The Commonwealth. My home. Ripped apart and put back together. I thought, I hoped I could find my family, cheat time, make us whole again. The way we were. But now I know. I know I can't go back. I know the world has changed. That the road ahead will be hard. This time, I'm ready. Because I know war. War never changes. I can feel it wash over me. The heat, the force, the radiation, the fear. It's the end of the world all over again. I close my eyes, I see my life before all of this, before the bombs. Everything can change in an instant, and the future you plan for yourself shifts, whether or not you're ready. At some point, it happens to all of us. This wasn't the world I wanted, but it was the one I found myself in. The Commonwealth. My home. Ripped apart and put back together. I thought, I hoped I could find my family, cheat time, make us whole again. The way we were. But now I know. I know I can't go back. I know the world has changed. That the road ahead will be hard. This time, I'm ready. Because I know war. War never changes.
Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. Today, we will focus on strength. In the wasteland, essential supplies will be scarce. When an item of value is found, keep it close and away from bullies. The stronger you are, the more you can carry. Be sure to know your limits, or you may find it challenging to escape from hazardous scenarios, no matter how strong you are. There are other situations where you may find yourself in close proximity to unfriendly neighbors. For such cases, you must learn to defend yourself using your natural strength. Use anything sharp, or sturdy enough to swing. Get creative with your implement, but stay reasonable. And look for anything that can further enhance your innate vigor. The greater your strength, the greater the impact. But remember, some moments require more than muscle. Keep doing your chin-ups and push-ups, because there's more strength can do for you. Swing for the fences like the pros, crafting specialized protective gear to keep, or building clever weapons to wield. Regularly study your Vault-Tec provided materials to prepare for survival. And to answer the question, do you know what makes you special? Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. In this chapter, we focus on perception. It is the unfortunate truth that when you go above ground, you will be faced with many post-nuclear nuisances. These frightening menaces will come in all different shapes and sizes and pose an immediate threat to your survival. You must learn to deal with these dangers, but may find this challenging at first. That's why we've provided you with the Vault-Tec assisted targeting system, so you can scan the threat and pinpoint areas of weakness. And the higher your perception, the more accurate you will be. Why, you'll put Davy Crockett to shame. There may be times when you must engage in questionable activities. Your perception can help keep you safe during these morally ambiguous moments. Practice your pilfering on youths, the elderly, or the incapacitated. As you continue to purloin your way to success, try more challenging targets and more skillful techniques for greater returns. Don't get too cocky there, sport. Always look to sharpen your 5 senses, for perception doesn't stop there. Keenly assessing the unfriendly locals and terrain, of handling sensitive munitions with in building a long-distance relationship. Regularly study your Vault-Tec provided materials to prepare for survival. And to answer the question, do you know what makes you special? Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. Our topic today is endurance. We will all be faced with many new and unfamiliar health risks, such as infection, sudden loss of limb, and above all, harmful radiation. Fortunately, your formidable endurance has turned your body into a hard-working machine that can resist the harmful effects of radiation and physical violence. Like any machine, then, your body must be well maintained to stay in tip-top shape. While average Joes will survive on old packaged standbys, your ironclad insides will allow you to seek fresh meat. Radiation poisoning may have enlarged your favorite meals. This means more healthful nutrition for you. Take caution not to bite off more than you can chew. Endurance can also provide new options for food, some of which can be an acquired taste. Gone are the days of exercising for fun. Instead, you will need to combine athletics with crucial survival activities. The greater your endurance, the further you can go. Just be certain to be mindful of others. Build your endurance, and soon you will find ways that it improves your life above ground. Of added confidence in the swimming pool, stronger, more resilient limbs to keep the flesh of your fellow man can provide. Regularly study your Vault-Tec provided materials to prepare for survival. And to answer the question, do you know what makes you special? Total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. And now, charisma. What is it made of? Unlike the clean, wholesome America you may recall, the wasteland will be a distrustful place, full of unsavory characters and few morals. Earning the trust of your fellow man is an often overlooked key to survival. One way to prove your trustworthiness is through fair commercial exchange. Your renowned charisma will enable more favorable bartering. Don't get greedy now. Use your charismatic nature to negotiate your way out of tense moments. Having friends is always of value. How else do I find friends, you may wonder? You may find an impromptu cocktail hour helps to ease social stress. Your charisma will help you avoid the perils of addiction, but not the immediate effects of drink. So practice moderation, or you'll find out who your real friends are the hard way. You will find that even wild animals can be charmed by your charisma. Looks like you've found a new pal. Oh, don't get carried away there, big fella. So you see, taking the charismatic approach is more than just good manners. Working with man's best friend into more loyal companions will convincing others to act on your behalf. Regularly study your Vault-Tec provided materials to prepare for survival. And to answer the question, do you know what makes you special? Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. Our next area of attention is intelligence. With all the talk of physical survival in the wasteland, you may forget that sometimes it's survival of the smartest. An empty mind is a vessel for knowledge, and intelligence is the key to unlocking opportunity and adapting to your new world above ground. Your advanced know-how will grant you access to new places and new technologies. Space age, isn't it? Intelligent survivors are also more inventive, creating technological wonders of their own. Note that the S in science stands for safety. And when the tables are turned against you, don't be afraid to set aside your refined intelligence for the raw instincts of survival. Just don't lose your head. Advanced learning in the field of intelligence can offer even more benefits in this modern age of wonder. To start navigating with technological ease, keep blood where it belongs by healing in creating more potent chemical compounds from. Regularly study your Vault-Tec provided materials to prepare for survival. And to answer the question, do you know what makes you special? Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. Now, let's discuss the uses of agility. A nuclear blast and the subsequent fallout will have many adverse effects on life as we know it. Intensive, prolonged radiation exposure may transform those above ground into decrepit, rotting beings that have lost their ability to reason. They will likely be without common manners and quick to anger. You must learn to make the most of available firearms, but enthusiasm will only take you so far. Now let's try that again. And remember that with your impressive agility, you can act more decisively in vats. See? It's a snap. Agility can also help you out in difficult moments. But why place yourself under undue stress? Instead, try a subtler route. Taking the quieter approach is always worth consideration. Your agility can turn a sneak attack into a complete tactical move. Keep in mind, others may have the same bright idea. Your agility will help you move through the wasteland with ease and yield other benefits like assaulting an unsuspecting dreamer in hastily reloading your firearms or piling on damage to additional targets when regularly study your Vault-Tec provided materials to prepare for survival. And to answer the question, do you know what makes you special? Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. Got your rabbit's foot? Good. It's time we talk about luck. The difference between whether you live or die in the post-nuclear world may depend on the flip of a coin. Luck is a mysterious sort of curiosity. See here? A well-placed shot may not always do the trick. If Lady Luck favors you, though, you'll find those critical moments a breeze. What's this? Only scrounging up duds? Time and patience may net you a suitable collection, but with luck on your side, you're bound to find some swell keepers. No, hold on to anything shiny. It may be of hidden value. Be careful not to get distracted by your newfound fortunes. Uh-oh, that wasn't the only pest. It looks like luck has helped you once again. Unfortunately, she can't save you from every situation. At least your misfortune can become someone else's fortune. Luck may be fickle, but if you can woo her to your side, the possibilities are endless. A particularly bloody mess with little chance to build a streak of destruction that cuts the magic of the unexpected. All regularly study your Vault-Tec provided materials to prepare for survival. And to answer the question, do you know what makes you special?
You will emerge. Today's episode, Being a Better You. In life, we must each deal with the hand we are dealt, performing our assigned role to the best of our capacity. But after total atomic annihilation, you may find the hand you were dealt has been reshuffled. Yes, gone are the simple days of yesteryear. Now the common workman must also be a covert operative. The farmer, a master of the martial arts. The ice cream man, a nuclear physicist. How will you make sense of it all? Simple. Turn to your official Vault-Tec training materials. With these powerful tools in hand, you'll learn to make the most of your natural abilities and better understand what makes you special. Use them to be the best you can be, or someone even better. Your survival depends on it. With your future secure, share your newfound knowledge with others for great benefit. But remember, there's power in diversity. Sometimes who we are isn't a choice at all. In fact, at a particular point in your young life, you may notice that your body has begun going through certain unfamiliar changes. No, it's not puberty, it's mutation. Thanks to our old pal radiation, your DNA has become more interesting. See here? You've now gained the unique abilities of a marsupial in exchange for a mild neurological impairment. Now you've learned how to be a better you. you are completely prepared to achieve your full potential in the role of your choosing. As a hand-picked resident of Vault 76, it is your duty to carefully review your Vault-Tec-provided films yearly to fully prepare for the day when you will emerge.
Peggy 18.
You will emerge. Today's episode, Atomics for Peace. When you emerge from the comfort and safety of your vault, the world you know will have changed. Take your friendly old neighbor, Johnny. Rather than coming over to borrow a cup of sugar, he may now be coming over for murder. Worse still, he may not be alone. In this instance, your current defensive implement will not be enough to do the job. The time has come to seek out greater means of protection. Nuclear armaments. That's right. Courtesy of your Uncle Sam, these wonders of the atomic age can be found right in your own backyard. But how does a fellow like you acquire nuclear launch codes, you may ask? Begin by inquiring with the locals. Gently coax them into cooperation. Use a little elbow grease if you have to. In the likely event you don't acquire a full code on your own, do not give up. Think back to the old saying, the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Search for others who might be harboring a grudge. You'll have that nuclear launch code in no time. With the power of the atom at your fingertips, be responsible and consider your target carefully. Will your bomb land on a rival camp of degenerates? A random stranger? The local wildlife? The choice is yours. Whatever your target may be, take advantage of the resulting fallout to gather rare and valuable resources. Yet these rewards don't come without risk. Monitor your environment for anything out of the ordinary. Now you know the benefits of using Atomics for Peace. You are completely prepared to responsibly use nuclear weapons. As a hand-picked resident of Vault 76, it is your duty to carefully review your Vault-Tec-provided films yearly to fully prepare for the day when you will emerge. You will emerge. Today's episode, A New American Dream. What separates man from beast? No, it's not his ability to tap dance. It is his desire to build. After thermonuclear war, man's towering industrial marvels may no longer stretch to the heavens. It then falls on you and the ingenuity of your fellows to rebuild the America we hold dear. Get started with camps, the construction and assembly mobile platform. It's the workbench of tomorrow. Once established, your camp will not only provide you with much-needed shelter, but also the means to satisfy your hunger, quench your thirst, and even treat infection. The essential pillars of survival. Expand your camp by scavenging resources or mining raw materials the old-fashioned way. Then construct your home of the future. If your first home site is undesirable, use your handy camp to move it to a better location. With your home secure, you can now craft handmade ordnance at your leisure to give your altercations that personal touch. Or better yet, sell these homemade implements to your neighbors for profit. Remember, capitalism, it's the only thing keeping us from being communists. The world may have ended, but keeping up with the Joneses has not. Use those hard-earned profits to upgrade your dwelling. When your home looks important, you are important. Now you've learned how to forge the new American dream. You are completely prepared to rebuild the greatest nation in the world. As a hand-picked resident of Vault 76, it is your duty to carefully review your Vault-Tec-provided films yearly to fully prepare for the day when you will emerge. You will emerge. Today's episode, Let's Work with Others, the Art of Cooperation. As you venture out into this new American frontier, you may find yourself a little lonely. Chin up there, sport. Your fellow Vault 76 dwellers will have emerged as well. Brave the new world together. But don't become too attached too quickly. When making new acquaintances, practice the art of nonverbal communication to gain that interpersonal edge. Remember, cooperation is the key to success. There's no I in nuclear wasteland. Employ these proven techniques and your camaraderie will blossom. In fact, you might just make some lifelong friends. Of course, not everyone will be quite so neighborly. Beware the clever ploy. In the event of catastrophe, search for opportunity. Should you find yourself alone once more, don't fret. Replacing those old friends with new, better friends is a snap. See? You're prepared for anything. Now you know the benefits of working with others. You are completely prepared for the world above with exciting new social skills. As a hand-picked resident of Vault 76, it is your duty to carefully review your Vault-Tec-provided films yearly to fully prepare for the day when you will emerge. Appalachia! What a sight! A verdant wonderland of promise plucked from post-atomic blight. The fruit of years of prudent progress and determined reclamation, and 15 million dwellers worth of keen imagination. From the heart of West Virginia to the depths of the pit.
Well, we owe it all to Vault 76.
No matter if you roam alone or spend your time with friends, you'll find a home in Appalachia where the good times never end. There are relics to uncover from a time before the war, along with loads of friendly folks to meet and enemies galore. Gadzooks, you're a natural kid. Let's get you back to looking dapper and get back on the grid. When you need a place to be yourself, well, that we can fix.
Answer the call of Vault 76.
Express yourself with clothing, muster arms and expertise. Here you're free to live your life in any manner you please. And where, pray tell, will you store all that loot? Why, in a camp of your design. Let your dream home take root. Our world is always changing. Greater foes are overthrown as we embark on expeditions into thrilling new unknowns. Yes, from Appalachian settlements to Nuka World on tour. You're never short on things to do or places to explore. Think you've seen it all, eh? Well, how about this? Pack your bags for an escape of Epicurean bliss. Put your rad shield on and fix your hair up pretty, because we're headed for the boardwalk of Atlantic City. Press your luck at the casinos. Let the good times roll. There's no telling what new treasures this beach haven will hold. So there you have it. Now you know. There's a million ways to make the wasteland your waste home. And when you hear adventure calling, when you're looking for some kicks, answer the call of Vault.
Answer the call of Vault.
Answer the call of Vault 76. Play it now with Xbox Game Pass.